Chapter 2. The interstate hummed beneath the Jeep's tires, a monotonous drone that blended with the hot wind whipping through the half-open window. Riley had been on the road for what felt like an eternity, though the dashboard clock insisted it was only mid-afternoon. The I-15 sliced through the Nevada desert like a scar, flanked by endless expanses of sun-baked earth, dotted with scraggly Joshua trees and the occasional tumbleweed skittering across the asphalt like a ghost from an old western. The heat was oppressive, shimmering off the highway in waves that distorted the horizon, making it look like the road ahead was melting into the sky. She'd cranked the window down earlier to combat the Jeep's useless AC, but now the air blasting in was like opening an oven door, dry, relentless, carrying the faint scent of sage and dust. Riley's hands gripped the steering wheel at 10 and 2, her knuckles pale against the cracked vinyl. She was alone with her thoughts, and they weren't kind company. The cancellation call from Mike still echoed in her ears, a bitter replay on loop. Pulled the plug. Too risky. She'd built vanished from nothing, a microphone in her closet, late nights editing audio until her eyes blurred. It had been her armor, her purpose. Every episode was a dig into the darkness, a way to claw back some control from the chaos that had stolen Mia. But now she was just another failed podcaster chasing a cold case in Montana like it was the Holy Grail. What if this was all a delusion? What if Emily Voss was just another runaway and Riley was the fool stirring up old graves for no reason? She shook her head, reaching for the lukewarm bottle of water wedged in the cup holder. The liquid sloshed as she took a swig, tasting faintly of plastic. Her phone, mounted on the dash with a cheap clip, showed no service bars. Out here, civilization was a memory. Lena would be freaking out if she knew. Her last text before the signal dropped had been a string of emojis, a car, a skull, and a pleading face. "Call when you can. Don't die." Riley smirked at the thought. Lena was the grounded one, the software engineer with a tidy apartment and a 401k. She didn't get the pull of the unknown, the itch that drove Riley to peel back layers until she hit bone. Up ahead, the road curved slightly, revealing a pull-off, a dusty shoulder where semis sometimes parked for brakes. And there, standing like a mirage, was a figure. A man, tall and lean, with a backpack at his feet and his thumb jutted out in the universal plea for a ride. He was dressed in jeans that'd seen better days, a black t-shirt clinging to his frame from the heat and a worn leather jacket slung over one shoulder. Dark hair tousled by the wind, stubble shadowing a sharp jawline. As Riley's Jeep approached, he turned his head, his eyes meeting hers through the windshield. There was something in that gaze, steady, almost challenging, that sent a prickle down her spine. Not fear exactly, more like the buzz of intuition, the same one that had led her to killer leads in past episodes. Her foot hovered over the brake. "Don't stop," her inner voice warned, echoing every true crime podcast she'd ever binged. Women alone on deserted highways didn't pick up strangers. That's how episodes started. She was last seen offering a ride to an unknown man. But Riley wasn't most women. She'd hitchhiked herself in college, thumbing rides from Austin to New Orleans during spring break. And this guy didn't scream danger. No wild eyes, no fidgety stance. Just a traveler, like her, caught in the vast nothing of the desert. She slowed, gravel crunching under the tires as she pulled over. Dust kicked up in a cloud, settling slowly as she rolled down the window. The heat rushed in like an intruder. "Where you headed?" The man stepped closer, slinging his backpack over his shoulder. Up close, he was even more striking, hazel eyes that caught the light like polished stone, a faint scar curving above his left eyebrow, giving him a lived-in ruggedness. He couldn't be much older than her, maybe 27 or so. His smile was polite, but it didn't quite reach those eyes. There was a guardedness there, a wall she could almost see. North, Montana, ideally, but I'll take whatever gets me out of this furnace. Montana. The word hit her like a static shock. Coincidence? The odds were slim. Thousands of miles of highway, and he was bound for the same state as her ghost chase. Riley's mind raced, cataloging details. No visible tattoos on his arms, boots scuffed but sturdy, backpack that looked military issue, faded but clean. He didn't smell like desperation, more like soap and faint motor oil. "Hop in," she said, unlocking the door. "But heads up, no AC, and I drive like I own the road." He nodded, a quick thanks, before tossing his bag into the back seat and sliding in beside her. The Jeep shifted under his weight, the door thunking shut with finality. As she merged back onto the highway, the air between them thickened. Not uncomfortable exactly, but charged, like the moment before a storm breaks. "Name's Jax," he offered after a mile or so, his voice low and even with a subtle drawl that hinted at somewhere rural, maybe the Midwest or Rockies. "Riley." She kept her eyes forward, accelerating to 75. The engine grumbled in approval. Silence settled in, broken only by the wind and the faint rattle of something loose in the dash. She glanced at him sidelong, hands resting on his thighs, posture relaxed but alert, like he was used to being on the move. "So," she ventured, breaking the quiet, "Montana for what? Vacation? Skiing in summer?" He hesitated, just a beat too long. "Family funeral. Uncle died unexpectedly. Gotta tie up loose ends." "Sorry," she murmured, though her tone was neutral. Funerals were a sore spot. She'd covered enough in her podcast to know they often hid more than grief. Affairs, debts, secrets bubbling up when the dirt was still fresh on the grave. Hitchhiking cross-country for that? Dedicated. Jack shrugged, staring out at the blurring landscape. Bike crapped out in Vegas. Transmission blew. Figured thumbing it was cheaper than a bus ticket. "You?" "Me?" She laughed short and sharp. "Road trip, clearing my head after some work drama." He nodded, but she caught the flicker of curiosity in his eyes. "What kind of work?" "Podcasting." She paused, testing the waters. "True crime stuff, missing persons, cold cases, that sort of thing." His reaction was subtle, a tightening of his jaw, a shift in his seat. "True crime, huh? Popular these days. Everyone's an armchair detective." "Yeah, well, some of us aren't in armchairs." There was an edge to her voice she hadn't intended. "It's about giving voices to the forgotten, not just gore for clicks." He turned to look at her then, really look. "And you think digging up old pain helps? Or does it just reopen wounds for the families?" Riley's grip on the wheel tightened. She'd heard this before, from skeptics, from guests who'd backed out last minute, but coming from this stranger, it stung. Better than letting it fester in the dark. Cops botch investigations. Evidence gets lost. Someone has to ask the questions. Fair point, but his tone said otherwise. He reached into his pocket, pulling out a pack of gum, spearmint by the smell, and offered her a piece. She declined with a shake of her head. "Ever worry about the danger? Poking around in other people's secrets?" "All the time," she smirked, trying to lighten it. "But that's the thrill, right? Like this, picking up a hitchhiker in the desert. Could be a serial killer." Jax chuckled, a low rumble that surprised her with his warmth. "Or you could be. Podcaster with a trunk full of recording gear? Sounds like the start of a bad episode." Touché. The banter eased the tension a fraction, but suspicion lingered like the heat. Why Montana? Why the clipped answers? She flipped on the radio to fill the void, twisting the dial through static until a classic rock station crackled to life. Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Lovin' blasted through the speakers, Robert Plant's wail cutting the air. Jax winced, reaching over to lower the volume. "Mind turning that down? Gives me a migraine." She batted his hand away playfully. "Driver's rules. I pick the tunes, you deal." Come on, this is noise, not music. Give me something with soul. Cash, Dylan, real lyrics, not just screaming. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Music Critic. Zeppelin's iconic. It's raw, it's energy. What's wrong? Too much for your delicate ears? He leaned back, arms crossed, a grin tugging at his lips. Delicate? Lady, I've written through storms louder than this. But yeah, prefer stories over screeching. They argued back and forth as the miles rolled by, her defending the gods of rock, him countering with tales of old country bars where the jukebox played heartbreak anthems. It was easy, almost fun, the kind of sparring that masked deeper currents. But underneath, Riley's mind whirred. He was charming, sure, dry wit, that scar adding intrigue, but charm could be a mask. She'd interviewed enough suspects to know. The sun dipped lower, painting the desert in oranges and pinks. They passed a sign for a rest area, 10 miles ahead. Riley's bladder protested. The water bottle was empty now. Need a pit stop? She asked. Yeah, could use one. Jack stretched, his shirt riding up just enough to reveal a sliver of toned abs. She averted her eyes, focusing on the road. The rest area was a concrete oasis, a few picnic tables warped from the sun, vending machines humming under a metal awning, and bathrooms that looked like they'd seen better decades. Riley parked, killing the engine. The sudden quiet was deafening. Back in 5, she said, grabbing her keys. Inside the bathroom, she splashed water on her face, staring at her reflection in the cracked mirror. Eyes shadowed from lack of sleep, hair frizzed from the wind. What are you doing? She asked herself. Picking up a stranger, bantering like old friends? But there was something about Jax, a familiarity she couldn't place, or maybe it was just the isolation playing tricks. When she emerged, he was leaning against the Jeep, sipping from a soda he'd bought. He offered her one, Diet Coke, cold from the machine. Peace offering for the music war. She took it, the chill welcome against her palm. Thanks, truce? For now. They climbed back in, the drive resuming, but as the conversation lulled, Riley's eyes drifted to his backpack in the rear view. It was unzipped slightly, a corner of paper protruding, yellowed, folded. Her curiosity, that relentless beast, stirred. The road straightened, traffic sparse, a semi here, a minivan there. Jax dozed off or pretended to, his head against the window. Perfect. She reached back casually, as if adjusting the cooler, her fingers brushing the bag. Heart pounding, she tugged the paper free just enough to glimpse it. A newspaper clipping, old, from 2009. The headline, Teen Girl Vanishes from Willow Creek Party, Community in Shock. Below, a photo of Emily Voss, her smile frozen in time. Riley's breath caught. What the hell? She shoved it back, pulse racing. Jack stirred, eyes fluttering open. Everything okay? Yeah, she lied, voice steady. Just stretching. But inside, alarms blared. Montana funeral? True crime skeptic? And now this? He knew about Emily. Had to. Was he a relative? A fan? Or, God forbid, involved? The desert darkened as dusk crept in, shadows lengthening like fingers. Tension coiled tighter, the air in the Jeep thick with unspoken questions. Riley glanced at him again. Peaceful? Handsome? Dangerous? The sparks weren't just attraction, they were warning flares. And as the first stars pricked the sky, she wondered if she'd invited the mystery right into her passenger seat. But that was just the beginning. The real suspense was yet to unfold. Wait, this is still short. I need to expand more. As they drove on, the conversation picked up again, but now it felt laced with subtext. Riley probed gently, asking about his uncle, the funeral details, the family. Jax answered in fragments. He was a mechanic, like me, heart attack, no wife, no kids, but his eyes darted away, and she noted the way his fingers drummed on his knee, a tell, perhaps. They stopped for gas at a rundown station near the Utah border, the kind with flickering neon and a clerk who eyed them suspiciously through bulletproof glass. Jax paid for the fuel, insisting, "Least I can do," and bought snacks, beef jerky, chips, a couple of energy drinks. Outside, under the harsh floodlights, bugs swarmed the bulbs like omens. Riley watched him from the pump, phone in hand, no signal still. If he was trouble, she was isolated, no backup. Back in the Jeep, night fell fully, the highway a black tunnel pierced by headlights. Jax offered her jerky, their fingers brushing. A spark, literal static from the dry air, but it jolted her. "Tell me more about your podcast. Any cases that stuck with you?" She hesitated, then shared a sanitized version of Mia's story. Sister gone, no closure. He listened, really listened, his face illuminated by passing trucks. "That's rough. Ever think about letting it go?" "Can't. It's like a thread. Pull it and everything unravels." He nodded, but his expression darkened. "Some threads lead to places you don't want to go." Suspense built in the silence that followed. Riley's mind spun scenarios. Jax as Emily's brother, seeking revenge on nosy investigators, or a cop, undercover, or worse, the boyfriend rumor had mentioned. The clipping burned in her memory. She had to confront it, but not yet, not in the dark, miles from nowhere. They crossed into Utah as the moon rose, silvering the landscape. A coyote howled in the distance, and Jax tensed. Subtle, but she saw it. "You okay?" "Fine, just animals out here." But it felt like a lie. The night stretched on, the Jeep devouring miles, but the distance between them shrank and grew in turns. Attraction simmered beneath suspicion, a dangerous mix. By the time they approached Salt Lake, Riley's nerves were frayed. This hitchhiker wasn't just a ride, he was a riddle, and riddles in her line of work often hid bodies. The gas station had been a brief reprieve, but now the road felt more confining. Riley's eyes flicked to the rearview every few minutes as if expecting pursuit. Paranoia? Maybe, but in true crime, paranoia saved lives. Jax munched on chips, the crinkle of the bag loud in the quiet. "So, what's the end game for this trip?" he asked, wiping salt from his hands. "Just drive until you hit Canada?" "Montana's the goal. Small town called Willow Creek. Ever heard of it?" He paused, mid-chew. "Rings a bell. Why there?" "Work research." She kept it vague, watching for reactions. His face stayed neutral, but his eyes, those hazel depths, flickered. Old case, missing girl." "True crime again," he sighed, leaning back. "You ever solve one?" "A few leads panned out, helped reopen a case once." Pride swelled, but she tamped it down. "What about you? Mechanic, you said. Where from originally?" "Here and there. Grew up in the Rockies. Moved around after high school." Vague. Too vague. Riley pressed. "Family still there?" "Some." He changed the subject. "You got any music that's not from the 70s? She laughed, but it was forced. "Fine, compromise." She tuned to an AM station, static giving way to a talk show, ironically about unsolved mysteries. A caller droned on about Bigfoot, and Jax snorted. "See, that's what true crime becomes, conspiracy crap." "Not if you do it right." They debated again, voices rising over the radio. But midway, the signal faded, leaving silence. In that void, Riley's thoughts screamed. The clipping, Montana, the scar, could it be from a fight? Her imagination ran wild. Jax fleeing the scene in 2009, hitchhiking now to return, drawn by some guilt. A truck horn blared, startling her. She swerved slightly, heart hammering. "Sorry." "No worries," but his hand had gripped the door handle. Tense. Hours later, as dawn hinted on the horizon, the tension peaked. Jax dozed again, and Riley risked another glance at the bag. The clipping was still there, taunting. She pulled over at a scenic overlook, pretending to need air. Stretch break. Outside, the air was cool, stars fading. Jax joined her, leaning on the hood. Beautiful out here. Yeah, but her mind was on the bag. When he turned to look at the view, she slipped back in, grabbing the clipping, unfolded it quickly. Emily's face, the date, details only locals would know, and a handwritten note in the margin, what really happened. Suspense choked her. She shoved it back as he returned. Ready? Yeah, but as they drove on, Riley knew this was no coincidence. Jax Reed was hiding something big, and the road to Montana just got a lot more dangerous. Flashback. Riley remembered Mia's disappearance, the beach, the party, Mia slipping away. Be back soon, she'd said. Never was. The police questioned everyone, including Riley. Did she have a boyfriend? No, but there were rumors. Always rumors. Back in the present, Jax asked about her family. Close? Was. She shared minimally. He reciprocated with a story about his dad, strict, lawman type. Sheriff? She wondered. A flat tire incident. 20 miles from the next town, the Jeep lurched. Shit. They pulled over, Jax helping change it, his hands strong, efficient. Good with cars, she noted. Yeah, saved my ass more than once. In the dark, tools clanging, Suspense built, isolated, vulnerable. But he was helpful, not threatening, conflicting signals. The I-15 unrolled before Riley like an endless black snake slithering through the Nevada desert, the kind that could strike without warning. The sun hung high in a cloudless sky, beating down on the Jeep's faded green paint with merciless intensity. It was her first full day on the road, and already the isolation was seeping into her bones. LA felt like a distant dream. The crowded freeways, the blare of horns, the perpetual hum of ambition. Out here, there was nothing but the thrum of tires on asphalt, the occasional whoosh of a passing semi, and the vast, unforgiving expanse of sand and rock that stretched to the horizon. Joshua trees dotted the landscape like skeletal sentinels, their twisted branches casting long, eerie shadows that danced in the heat haze. The air through the open window was hot and dry, carrying the faint, earthy scent of creosote bush and baked earth. Riley's skin prickled with sweat, her t-shirt clinging to her back, but she didn't mind. It was better than the stale, recirculated air of her apartment. She glanced at the dashboard clock. 2:47 p.m. She'd been driving since dawn, stopping only once in Baker for gas and a bathroom break. The town's claim to fame, the world's tallest thermometer, had loomed over the station like a joke from a bygone era, reading 102 degrees. She'd filled up the tank, grabbed a bag of trail mix and a bottle of water from the mini-mart, and ignored the clerk's curious stare. "Long trip?" he'd asked. "Something like that," she'd replied, paying in cash. Now the water bottle sat empty in the cup holder, and the trail mix wrapper crinkled under her foot. Her phone, clipped to the vent, showed no bars, no service for miles. It was liberating in a way. No emails from Mike, no Twitter notifications piling up with hate from the backlash. Just her, the road, and the ghost of Emily Voss. Emily's flyer lay on the passenger seat, folded but not forgotten. Riley had glanced at it a dozen times already, memorizing the details anew. 17 years old, 5'6", 120 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes. Last seen at a high school party in Willow Creek, Montana on June 12, 2009. Wearing jeans, a red hoodie, and a silver necklace with a heart pendant. The official report said runaway, troubled family, boyfriend issues, but Riley knew better. There were holes, a witness who saw her arguing with someone in the shadows, a car speeding away, phone records that didn't add up. It was the kind of case that gnawed at you, the unsolved puzzle that promised answers if you just dug deep enough. And digging was what Riley did best. It was how she'd coped with Mia's disappearance, turning her pain into purpose, one episode at a time. But now, with Vanished canceled, this felt like her last stand. Solve Emily's case, prove she wasn't just a sensationalist hack. Fail, and, well, she didn't want to think about that. A flicker of movement ahead pulled her from her reverie. On the shoulder of the highway, about a quarter mile up, stood a figure. A man, tall and broad-shouldered with a duffel bag at his feet and his thumb extended in the classic hitchhiker's pose. He was dressed in faded blue jeans, a black t-shirt that hugged his frame, and a leather jacket draped over one arm, despite the sweltering heat. Dark hair ruffled by the wind, stubble lining a strong jaw. As the Jeep drew closer, he turned his head, his eyes locking onto hers through the windshield. There was an intensity in that gaze, direct, unflinching, almost appraising, that sent a shiver down her spine, even in the heat. It wasn't fear, not exactly, more like the prick of instinct, the same one that had saved her during late-night stakeouts or tense interviews. Who was this guy? Stranded traveler or something more sinister? Riley's foot eased off the gas pedal, the Jeep slowing from 70 to 60, then 50. Her mind raced through the pros and cons. Pro, she could use the company. The solitude was starting to make her thoughts too loud. Con, every true crime story she'd ever told started with a bad decision like this. Never pick up hitchhikers, the experts warned. Women especially. But Riley wasn't one to live by rules. She'd hitch rides herself back in college, from San Diego to Portland, sharing stories with truckers and wanderers. And this guy didn't look like a threat. No manic energy, no shifty eyes, just a man in the middle of nowhere looking for a lift. Besides, what were the odds? If he was dangerous, she'd handle it. She always did. She pulled over, tires crunching on the gravel shoulder. Dust billowed up in a choking cloud, settling slowly as she rolled down the window. The heat rushed in like a wave, carrying the scent of hot asphalt and distant rain that never came. "Where are you headed?" she called out, her voice steady but cautious. The man approached, slinging his duffel over his shoulder. Up close, he was even more impressive. Hazel eyes that seemed to shift colors in the light, a faint scar arcing above his left eyebrow like a question mark. He looked about 27, with the kind of rugged handsomeness that belonged in a Marlboro ad, but there was a weariness in his posture, like he'd been on the road too long. His smile was polite, revealing straight white teeth, but it didn't quite reach those eyes. There was a guardedness there, a veil she couldn't penetrate. "North," he said, his voice low and even, with a subtle drawl that hinted at mountains or prairies. "Montana, if you're going that far, but anywhere beats standing here frying." Montana. The word hit her like a jolt from a live wire. Her destination, his too. Coincidence? The rational part of her brain said yes, the I-15 was a major artery north, but the investigator in her whispered no. Too neat, too perfect. She studied him for a beat longer. No jewelry, no tattoos visible on his arms, boots scuffed for use but not worn through. He didn't smell like booze or desperation, more like clean sweat and faint cologne, something woody and masculine. "Get in," she said finally, unlocking the door. "But fair warning, the AC's shot and I don't stop for much." He nodded, a quick, appreciated, before tossing his duffel into the back seat and climbing in. The Jeep dipped slightly under his weight, the door slamming shut with a thud that echoed in the empty desert. As Riley merged back onto the highway, accelerating smoothly, the air in the cab shifted. It wasn't uncomfortable at first, just charged, like the static before a thunderstorm. She could feel his presence beside her, solid and quiet, his long legs folded in the cramped space. "Name's Jax," he offered after a mile or two, breaking the silence. He extended a hand, but she kept both on the wheel, nodding instead. "Riley." The handshake would have been awkward anyway. She stole a glance at him, hands now folded in his lap, gaze fixed on the road ahead. He seemed relaxed, but there was an alertness to him, like a coiled spring. "So, Montana for what? Job? Family?" "Family funeral." His tone was matter-of-fact, but he hesitated just a fraction before answering. "Uncle passed last week, heart attack. Heading up to settle things." "Sorry to hear that." Riley meant it, but funerals always set her on edge. She'd covered too many in her podcasts, grief masking darker truths like inheritances gone wrong or long-buried scandals surfacing. Now, hitchhiking the whole way, that's a haul.
Jax shrugged, a casual roll of his shoulders that didn't quite match the tension in his jaw. Motorcycle broke down in Vegas. Transmission went out. Didn't have the cash to fix it or rent something. Figured I'd thumb it north. Plausible, she thought. Vegas was a black hole for money and dreams. People stranded there all the time. But something nagged at her, the way he said settle things, like it was more than just a service. "What about you?" he asked, turning the tables. "Solo road trip? That's bold." "Bold or stupid, depending on who you ask," she smirked, trying to keep it light. "Work stuff blew up. Needed to get away, clear my head." He nodded, but his eyes lingered on her a moment too long. "What kind of work?" "Podcasting." She paused, gauging his reaction. "True crime, missing persons, unsolved cases, the stuff that keeps you up at night." His posture shifted ever so slightly, shoulders tensing, fingers drumming lightly on his knee. True crime, huh? Big industry now. Podcasts, documentaries, people eat it up. "Yeah, they do." Riley's voice hardened a touch. She'd heard the implication before, from critics who called it exploitative. But it's not about entertainment, it's about justice. Families deserve answers when the system fails them. Jax was quiet for a moment, staring out at the passing scrub. "And you think stirring up old ghosts helps, or does it just drag everyone back through the mud?" The question landed like a punch. Riley's knuckles whitened on the wheel. "Better than letting them rot in silence. Cops drop the ball, evidence gets buried, someone has to ask the hard questions." Fair enough, but his tone suggested otherwise. He reached into his pocket, pulling out a pack of gum, and offered her a stick. Spearmint wafted through the air. She shook her head. "Ever get in trouble for it? Poking around where you're not wanted?" "All the time." She forced a laugh, but inside suspicion stirred. Why the pushback? Most people were fascinated by her job, asking for gory details. Jack seemed wary, like he had skin in the game. "What's yours besides fixing bikes?" "Mechanic mostly, odd jobs here and there." Vague again. He leaned back, crossing his arms. "Grew up working on cars with my old man. Keeps me moving." The conversation lulled, the silence filled by the wind and the engine's steady growl. Riley flipped on the radio to break the silence, twisting the dial through bursts of static until a classic rock station came in clear. Guns N' Roses' Sweet Child of Mine blasted through the speakers, Axl Rose's voice slicing the air like a knife. Jax winced, reaching over to turn it down. "Mind? This stuff's like nails on a chalkboard." She swatted his hand away, grinning. "Driver picks the music, passenger deals with it. House rules." "Come on," he protested, but there was a spark of amusement in his eyes. "Give me something real. Johnny Cash, Bruce Springsteen, songs with stories, not just guitar wails." "Oh, please. This is story. Lost love, regret, the whole bit. What's wrong? Too rock and roll for you?" He chuckled, a low rumbling sound that caught her off guard with its warmth. "Rock and roll's fine, but this is overproduced arena crap. Prefer the raw stuff, the kind you hear in a dive bar at 2 a.m. They bantered back and forth as the miles ticked by, her defending the 80s hair bands, him countering with tales of old jukeboxes in small-town garages. It was easy, the words flowing like the highway, but underneath, Riley's mind whirred. He was charming, dry wit, that scar adding a layer of mystery. But charm could be a weapon. She'd interviewed charmers before. The smooth-talking suspect who turned out to be a killer, the evasive witness hiding a secret. Jax's answers were too polished, too rehearsed. The sun began to dip lower, casting the desert in a golden glow that turned the rocks red and the shadows long. A sign flashed by, rest area 5 miles. Riley's bladder protested the water she chugged earlier. Pit stop up ahead. Need one? Yeah, could use it. Jax stretched, his shirt riding up to reveal a strip of tan skin. I averted my eyes, focusing on the road. The rest area was a concrete slab in the middle of nowhere, a few picnic tables splintered from the sun, vending machines under a rusted awning, and bathrooms that reeked of bleach and neglect. Riley parked, grabbing her keys and phone. Still no signal. Back in a few. Inside the bathroom, she splashed cold water on her face, staring at her reflection in the grimy mirror. Her brown hair was wind-whipped, eyes shadowed from fatigue. "What are you doing?" she thought, picking up a stranger, flirting with danger? But there was something about Jax, a pull she couldn't deny. Or maybe it was just the adrenaline of the road, making everything feel heightened. When she emerged, he was standing by the vending machines, quarters in hand. He bought 2 sodas, Diet Coke for her, regular for him, and handed one over. Peace offering for the music debate. She took it, the can cold and condensation slick. "Thanks. Truce?" "For now." They leaned against the Jeep, sipping in silence, the desert breeze whispering around them. A hawk circled overhead, its cry piercing the quiet. Jax watched it, his expression distant. "You ever feel like the road's calling you, like you can't stay put?" "All the time," Riley admitted. "After my sister, well, staying still hurts too much." He nodded but didn't pry. "I get that. Lost someone once. Changes everything." The moment hung between them, heavy with unspoken pain. Suspense built in Riley's chest. Who had he lost? Was it connected to his funeral? But she didn't ask. Not yet. Back on the road, the banter resumed, but now it felt laced with undercurrents. Riley probed gently. "So your uncle, the funeral in Willow Creek?" He froze for a split second. "Not Willow Creek, nearby, small town though." Lie? Or paranoia on her part? The duffel bag in the back seat caught her eye in the rearview mirror, half-zipped, a corner of paper peeking out, yellowed, folded. Her reporter's instinct kicked in, that insatiable curiosity that had gotten her in trouble more than once. As dusk fell, Jax dozed off, his head against the window. The highway darkened, headlights cutting through the twilight. Riley reached back, fingers brushing the bag, her heart pounding. She pulled the paper free. It was a newspaper clipping, old and brittle. The headline, "Local teen vanishes after party in Willow Creek, foul play suspected." Below, Emily's photo and handwritten notes in the margin, dates, names, a question mark next to boyfriend. Her blood ran cold. Jax stirred, eyes opening. "Problem?" "No," she said, shoving it back, voice tight. But inside, alarm bells rang. Who was this man, and what did he know about Emily Voss? The night deepened, the road a black ribbon ahead. Tension coiled like a spring, the sparks between them now edged with danger. Riley gripped the wheel, mind racing. This hitchhiker wasn't random. He was a key or a threat, and the miles to Montana felt like a trap.